Welcome to AI on the Block, featuring Max Ledger and Allison Hashwell, presented by Evolve Blockchain.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to jump into a topic that's really buzzing everywhere, quantum computing. You see the headlines, new chips coming out from places like Google, and the pace just feels like it's, well, really picking up.
Yeah.
Makes you think about, skating where the puck is going to be.
Definitely.
And the big question I keep hearing, and it seems like it's on your mind too from the sources you sent over, is what does this huge leap in computing power actually mean? Especially for things like cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin. How safe are they, really?
It's a really vital question. The potential impact is huge.
So, okay, let's start unpacking this. At its core, quantum computing is about processing information just differently.
That's the key. Classical computers use bits, a 0 or a 1. Simple. Quantum computers use qubits. A qubit can be effectively both 0 and 1 at the same time.
Both at once. Wow, that's, hard to wrap your head around.
It is. And this lets them, for certain problems anyway, check out just vast numbers of possibilities all at once. That gives them this potential for exponential speed up over classic computers.
Okay, the potential sounds incredible.
Theoretically, yes. But, and this is a really big but, as the sources point out, today's quantum computers are incredibly delicate. Think of like a circus performer spinning plates on poles. It's tough. They need super precise conditions, often near absolute 0 temperatures. And even then, errors pop up all the time, and the quantum state, the spin, doesn't last long. Add more qubits, more plates, it gets exponentially harder to keep it all stable.
So fundamentally unstable right now and error-prone.
Very. We're still in the, very early stages of building these things reliably at scale. But even with these limits now, the theoretical power of future machines, that poses a really significant threat to the cryptography that underpins so much, including crypto.
Right. So huge potential, tricky reality today. Let's drill down then. Where does that potential power hit crypto hardest? Where's Bitcoin most vulnerable?
Okay, the absolute core vulnerability, and the sources are clear on this, is the digital signature, the thing used to authorize transactions. And the danger comes from an algorithm called Shor's algorithm. If you had a big enough, stable enough quantum computer running Shor's, it could theoretically take someone's public key and, well, figure out their private key really fast.
And if they have your private key?
They can sign transactions as you, steal your coins. Game over for those funds.
Wow. So if your public key is out there, a future quantum computer could basically just guess your private key almost instantly.
It's a bit like, your email address suddenly letting someone figure out your password. Now, how Bitcoin addresses work matters here. Older addresses, they reveal your full public key on the blockchain the first time you spend from them. And once it's there forever.
Visible to everyone, permanently.
Correct. Newer addresses are a bit better. They only show a hash of the public key initially. The full key only comes out later in the process.
Signatures are the weak spot. But you said current machines are fragile. So is this a problem today? What's the real timeline we're looking at?
Great. The good news, based on everything we're seeing, this is not an immediate threat. Right now, there isn't a quantum computer anywhere near powerful or stable enough to run Shor's algorithm on the scale needed to break Bitcoin's ECDSA.
Okay, What's the time frame then? Best guess.
The, let's say, optimistic timeline suggested in the research, maybe 10 to 20 years before quantum hardware could realistically threaten ECDSA out in the wild.
10 to 20 years. Okay, that feels like there's time to prepare.
Yeah.
That's somewhat reassuring, but there's that other thing you mentioned, the steal now, crack later threat. That feels way more urgent.
Ah, yes. That is the critical point, and it makes this relevant now. Remember, the blockchain is public and permanent. Immutable.
Right. Everything's recorded.
Everything, including all those public keys revealed from past transactions, especially from those older one addresses. So what a patient attacker, maybe a state actor, maybe someone else could be doing today is just harvesting, downloading and storing all those exposed public keys.
He's hoovering up the history.
Pretty much. Then you fast forward 10, 15, 20 years. They finally get their powerful quantum computer. They pull out that old data, run Shor's algorithm on those stored public keys, and bam, they derive the private keys.
And then they could just drain potentially millions of wallets whose keys were exposed years ago.
Exactly.
So like if I sent some Bitcoin from an old type of address maybe 5 years back, revealing the public key, the rest of the Bitcoin I just left sitting in that same address is potentially at risk down the line. even if I don't touch it again.
That's precisely the risk. Spending from an address type that exposes the public key creates this future vulnerability for any funds still at that address. Long-term holders using older, previously used addresses are the target here.
Wow. Okay, that completely changes the calculation on that 10, 20-year timeline. It's not just about the future, it's about the past catching up. So given this, what are the solutions? What are people working on? New crypto?
Absolutely. The crypto community, researchers, developers, they're definitely aware and working on it. The solutions basically fall into two buckets: quantum resistance and post-quantum cryptography, or PQC.
Okay, what's the difference there?
Well, quantum resistance is kind of like trying to make the current locks stronger. Longer keys, maybe more complex math, making it harder for even a quantum computer to break. Bitcoin's currently resistant just because the computers aren't good enough yet. It's temporary. An arms race.
Always trying to stay one step ahead.
Right. PQC is more fundamental. It means switching out the vulnerable stuff, like ECDSA, entirely. Replacing it with brand new types of cryptography designed from the ground up to resist attacks from known quantum algorithms, like Shor's.
So changing the lock completely. A quantum-proof lock.
Perfect analogy. And these new PQC algorithms, they exist.
Okay, so the new locks exist. They're getting standardized. But how easy is it to actually change the locks on something massive and decentralized like Bitcoin or Ethereum? That sounds hard.
That is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? It's incredibly challenging. For Bitcoin, change is slow, needs that wide consensus we talked about.
Yeah, the Bitcoin way.
Plus, these PQC signatures, they're often much bigger. That means bigger transactions, potentially higher fees, more data on the blockchain, and backward compatibility is a nightmare. Getting everyone miners, nodes, wallets, users to upgrade, it's a massive undertaking. Probably looking at, a decade or more before full PQC is on Bitcoin mainnet.
A decade plus. Wow. What about Ethereum? Any faster?
Ethereum's maybe a bit more flexible with governance. Research is definitely happening there too. And interestingly, layer 2s on Ethereum, the rollups and sidechains, they might be the first places we see PQC tested and deployed because they can move faster than the main chain.
Ah, okay. L2s could get it first. Makes sense. Are any chains using PQC right now?
The main one highlighted is the Quantum Resistant Ledger, QRL, launched way back in 2018.
So what does quantum proof even mean then, practically? And are any of the big chains there?
Well, based on the sources, being truly quantum proof means swapping out all the vulnerable core cryptography. PQC for signatures, making sure hashes are robust against grovers, securing key exchanges, the whole shebang.
The full upgrade.
Exactly. And the clear answer right now, no major widely used blockchain is quantum proof today. Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the ones you probably know and use, they all rely on ECDSA for signatures. That's the Shor's algorithm vulnerability.
None of the big ones. Wow.
QRL uses PQC signatures, so it's closer on that front, but it's not a major chain in terms of usage or value.
So bottom line, despite the noise, none of the majors are quantum proof right now. So looking ahead then, despite all these challenges, where might the opportunities lie as this whole quantum story unfolds?
Well, the sources suggest a few things. You'll see projects marketing themselves as quantum-proof cryptos.
Approach with caution, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. Lots of hype there. More realistically, maybe look at companies building the tools and services to help existing systems migrate. PQC solutions for banks, governments, or tools to help Bitcoin or Ethereum actually make the switch when the time comes.
The enabling tech, not just new coins.
Exactly. And keep an eye on those early PQC experiments on platforms like Ethereum Layer 2s. That's where we might see practical application first. More about the plumbing and infrastructure than flashy new token.
Right. Practical implementation. That feels more grounded.
Think low risk now, moderate risk needing planning in 5-10 years, high risk needing full migration in 10+ years.
And for you listening, what's the action item?
Stay aware. Your funds are safe today, but long-term, security will depend on future upgrades. And eventually, you'll likely need to take action yourself, migrating your coins to new PQC-resistant addresses when they become the standard.
Action needed from users down the road, especially if you have funds in those older addresses you've spent from before, the ones that show the public key.
Until next time, keep exploring and remember the future of money is in your hands.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to join Max and Allison next episode as they dig deeper into the different facets of Evolve blockchain. This has been AI on the Block.